Hello, this is Robin Morris calling back with a 2 point video today about depression. This is a test. I just wanted to share a couple of things that I've learned about how to better. Um, what's the word I want to use? How to better um, overcome. That's the word. Depression. So there's two things. One of them I'm going to talk about how to get understanding. And the other one is to get a hold of our emotions. And really, in a nutshell, that's exactly all that it is. Well, most of what it is. So, what I like to share is that when we get a hold of, well, first of all, when we get an understanding of why certain things are the way they are, why we react the way that we do, why we get angry, why we get mad, why we hurt, why we're so sad, why we're so frustrated, disappointed, beat ourselves up sometimes, and things like that. All of that has to do with getting some understanding. Understanding why someone else, of course, whom we have no control over their behavior, but why someone else reacts the way that they do. Why does this person make me so angry? Why do they keep doing that? And then why do I keep reacting the same way? And then why are these situations happening over and over again? I'm so tired. I feel like such a failure. I keep doing this. I'm mad at myself and go into beat up mode and so on. So those types of things I'm talking about getting an understanding with. One of them I wanted to say is we have to grow up emotionally. But before I get to that, before you can even do that, you have to first recognize what it is that's triggering you and making you so angry, mad, sad, hurt, what have you. When it comes to a person, one of the best things that we can do is understand that person and why they react or act the way that they do, why they do the things that they do. What is their upbringing? Who do they hang around with? What were their parents like? Have they been through a bitter divorce? Did they have a bad experience in life that really put them in that place? And then when we get a hold of and start really understanding that, we start to be able to better manage our emotions. Now, that might take some work because you may not know why that person is reacting that way. You may not know their background. You may not know their upbringing. You may not know their history. And so, if you're going to be in continued communication and have to work with that person, it's going to take some time to get to know them a little bit more and understand them as to why they react. Now, you don't have to say, why do you keep making me angry? You don't have to do that because they may not even be able to tell you why. Then sometimes they might. But then all you have to do is start, kind of probing a little bit here and there, not like acting like an investigator, but just very casually asking, well, what was it like growing up for you? Or if it had to do with the marriage, I know you told me you were married one time. How was that? Do you mind sharing? Or you mentioned something about a bad situation you got in. Can you, I don't know how you might come about the conversations. The point that I'm making is that if you don't know, you may have to ask if you're going to be in continued communication. When you find out and start putting pieces together and figuring out why, then you'll also understand why they behave the way that they do and why it makes you so angry or hurts you so bad or makes you feel this way or that way, less than, or what have you. And that's another subject I want to talk about later on. But that's one of the things we have to do is to get some understanding of individuals. Now, some of it is we need to understand ourselves, why we keep doing the things that we're doing. Why do I keep making this happen? Why does this keep happening? And so, what I say is, when you see yourself in that depressive state or place, is when we need to start asking those types of questions as to first of all, why am I feeling this way? And sometimes it may be days or a couple of days, or maybe sometimes months that we have to kind of backtrack. And sometimes it may be a couple of things that have piled up, and we take them piece by piece. That's the best way to deal with it. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. So you take it piece by piece. When you finally find one of the things or the one thing that's got you to this depressive place, then you start looking at it and start asking questions. Why am I so angry? Why am I so hurt? And sometimes it's because we've invested so much in a person. We put so much high esteem on a person, and we don't expect them to react and behave that way. But when we learn to understand why and get a hold of that, then we can take a step back and say, okay, I get it. So now I know I kind of have to quote unquote brace myself sometimes when around this person and not allow them to affect me, make me so angry, mad, sad, hurt, whatever it is, the way that they have. And then when you see that, to recognize it and you know how to respond then and not let it get to you the way that it has. When it comes to ourselves, instead of us beating ourselves up and feeling so bad about ourselves, we have to sometimes understand ourselves, knowing and understanding that we weren't taught. No one showed us how to. I never knew, you know, because we get older and we feel like we know it all. We know everything there is to know, but we don't. And so there's so information out here now that you can look it up and get help and start backtracking, and say, wait a minute, okay, this is why I did that. Because really, I should be doing this. And some of that's going to take some time. Some, not all the time, but sometimes that might take some time. And so we have to also be patient with ourselves. Um, so that's those two things. Now, once we get a hold of that, then we can then again take that step and say, okay, the light comes on, understanding kicks in. And that is what's key, is to get understanding as to why I find myself into those places or into this space of feeling depressed and down and wanting to give up or whatever the feeling is. So then, now that we have when you get, I want to say now that we have understanding, but when you get those understandings, whether it's for regarding someone else or yourself, things we have control over are ourselves. We can do some things about things that other people do. Of course, we have no control over. We can't do, but we can change how we respond by getting understanding. And I have a scenario I can share, but I'm not going to do it. I'm trying to make this like a fast track video. Pardon my little lamb thing you see right here, my little cord here. So it's supposed to be partly a test, but it's still some helpful information in it. Um, so then we get understanding. That's one way of overcoming it. When we get understanding, then it's time for us to get a hold of ourselves and our emotions. That's when we take a step back. We say, okay, now I understand. Now, that doesn't mean for you to be vengeful and spiteful and I'll get them back and, tit for tat, because that doesn't make you any better of a person by trying to retaliate. What we're trying to do here, because guess what? You're going to find yourself right back over there again at some point. If not with them, somebody else, if you don't get to the root of what I'm trying to say, of getting understanding. And even the Bible says that in all of your getting, get understanding. And when I understood that, I understood why it said to get understanding. Because you can better manage your emotions and grow up in your emotions. I had to grow up in my emotions. I was very tenderhearted, soft hearted. Every little piece of a thing got to me. And then I had to say, no more. I'm not allowing that to get to me. I'm going to grow up, you know. And so I did. I really just had to grow up in my emotion and refuse to allow certain things to get to me the way that I do. And so today, when certain things come about, I get understanding. I'm like, nope, been there. I know why. I understand the process. I know what I need to do different. I just need to do it. And I'm not going to beat myself up and feel bad about it or go into a depression. And I don't allow myself to do it. So those are the two things. One is to get understanding as to what caused you to get to that place. Backtrack. It might be some days or months, sometimes years, sadly. Get to the heart of what it is or was, or who it is or was that has you to that place. Get understanding of that person or that situation and how it came about. And then grow up. Make a choice to grow up. And you're in your emotions. And then guess what? Wash, rinse, and repeat. It's the same process every time. I don't mean to have this to sound like it's just simple, because it's not always going to be simple. Because some people you're really involved emotionally with, yeah, emotionally, you really care about them. And so you're going to have to learn how to manage your emotion and not retaliate and do whatever you've been doing to get back, because it still gets you. That's just your way of lashing back out. You're going to have to get to the heart of it. So those are my two practical points. And again, I know it's not going to be easy. Some things it may be, but we are a work in process. I don't like that terminology because some people use it as a crutch to continue to be the way that they are. But I just say it to say that we're not perfect and we all need some work. But there's help out there. There's help available, but we have to be willing to work at it and work on it and work on ourselves and to forgive ourselves and to forgive other people. So now, when that happens again, if it should happen again, or if you're in that place, do those things. Find out why. Get understanding. Grow up in your emotions. And then wash, rinse, and repeat. And I can assure you that when you do that, you will start to feel so much better. That's it. So my name is Robin Morris. Glad to be back with you. Hope this has been very helpful for you. Remember that you are not helpless. You are not hopeless. And that your life is worth something. You are valuable. So go out and let's do it. Have a good day. I'll see you next time. Without my umbrella and cord.